Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast with your host tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish village idiot, JQ. This is the RC podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but Ebuggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 154 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, and joining me this week is our co-host, RC Kevin, and what's up, Kevin? How you doing?
What's up, man? How are you?
And our new once-a-month co-host who's going to come on and help us out once a month, hopefully, from here on out, Mr. Jared Tebos. How you doing, Tebo?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're set up in your studio now. I like it. You got your product placement up there looking sharp. You look like Steve. Hey, I was just watching Steve Mathis, and I was like, hey, he's got all this nice product placement and all that type of stuff. Look at you. You got that going. So thank you for joining us. I got to step
up a little bit more, but I'm trying.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you having you on. And thank you too, Kevin, for your time. Hey guys, please share this, make this go viral. We kind of we're gonna have some questions later. I'm gonna talk to Jared about his time at AMS. We're gonna have some silly season talk as well, and just get his feelings on 2022, what's coming up and stuff like that. So hey, thank you guys. Share this, and hey, before I go on any further, I have to thank all of the NNRC squad from around the world. We can't do this without you guys. Thank you for all the support. Downloading, listening. It's been an awesome 3 years and an awesome 150 plus episodes. So thank you guys for everything. With that said, I'd also like to say thank you to the patrons of the podcast. You guys have supported us for a long time, and without that, it helps keep these bills paid, helps keep these lights on, helps me get a little something, and helps me travel. So I appreciate that. And yeah, I can't do it without you. So, we have sponsors. If you wish to become a sponsor of this podcast, hit me up. We're going into 2022. We're doing some new things. So if you think this is a great place for your company to advertise, then hit me up and let's talk. So with that said, I would like to say thank you, and a big thank you to all the sponsors that have supported the podcast for the last year. They are Mayako, Beach RC, TNR Fuels, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, High Tech RCD, JQ Squale Motorsports, Sun City RC Raceway, Donathan RC, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, RCGP, House of RC, also Invisible Speed. If you want to check that out, that's getting a lot of great reviews. It's a great online course that just put together. Check it out. And of course, when you got a chance, check out the Sold Out app. And of course, now JTP RC and RC Kevin, because he's a blogger and we need to support him as well. So I welcome them to the podcast. Remember, everybody, show the sponsors some love, shows the podcast some love. You have links and coupon codes, affiliate links for all of that in the written description of this podcast. Show them some love, helps us out. All right.
Hey, super sticker alert.
Oh, there we go. One of this must be Canadian from. Is it a friend of yours, Kevin?
Yes, Montreal. One of my patrons, actually. So thank you, Marc-Andre.
Thank you, Mark, for your support. We greatly appreciate it. Does he speak English?
Yes, he does.
Okay, great. That's good. Thank you. All right, everybody. So we've got Jared with us. He just came off a grueling, I would say, AMS 12.0. Really, really nice. I liked it. I enjoyed it. What I got to watch. You've had success at this race before, Jared, I believe. I've been to this race when it was in the summertime. It's a lot different from how it was that winter. So let's tell us about AMS. You was excited going into this race as well. So tell us how it went for you.
Yeah. I normally always really look forward to going to this race. I like the size of it. I like the outdoor that they have. They normally have a pretty good track layout. In my mind, I'm always pretty good at that event, but I I think these last 2 years have been a little bit more difficult with it being in the winter compared to in the summer. The track's a lot different. Really, this year it seemed like quite a bit different compared to last year. It was really high grip, but the track dried out really fast, like in practice day, and then they watered some, and temperatures were kind of all over the place. Like when I first got there, it was warmer, and then we had some really cold days and some cold nights and stuff. But yeah, the new format was interesting. It was different. It was cool just to kind of, have some unknown, have some kind of excitement, something to look forward to as a driver. It wasn't so just kind of mundane, if you put it. All in all, I really enjoyed it. I didn't have the weekend I really wanted, but, pretty proud of my effort. I would say I was off on speed to kind of start, and then really picked up my speed in the qualifying, but I wasn't really ever able to like string my good 3 laps really together. That format was really interesting. And it was really difficult, and not really for the reasons you would think. It wasn't because, certain drivers have 3-lap pace, certain drivers don't have 3-lap pace, people driving crazy. The weirdest part was when you would make a mistake or something and you would want to like check up and kind of get space, is you didn't know what anybody else was doing. And so you didn't really know like when to jump in and like who's on what. The track was, it's not a small track, but I think we had like 11 or 12 cars in qualifying, and there's a lot of cars on the track. So anytime you do like get out of line and you need to jump back in, you're normally getting in front of somebody or getting close to somebody. And so that was really the trickiest part, I think. And, even other people, like you'd have 2 really good laps and then someone would jump in right in front of you, not knowing that you're on your last lap, and, you might get messed up. And, so that was really like the most challenging part, was just there were so many like moving things going around on the track, and, people pulled over to the side. People, like it wasn't like a normal qualifier where you have people like actually just sitting there waiting, trying to like get some clear space. So that was interesting.
Did you take advantage of the format, like go into pit lane, lean out, or play on tires or something like that? Did you use that to test some stuff or whatnot?
No, I never actually came into the pit during any of the actual qualifiers. As far as like engine stuff, I mean, all the top guys, our stuff's all running really good. You can maybe do some ride height adjustment or something like that, but they were actually, normally a race is like 1 lap out, you start the clock, and we actually had like a full 2-minute warm up. So those little kind of adjustments that if people that kind of know me or people that see me at a lot of races, mainly the drivers, will know that I'm super weird with ride height adjustments, and it's kind of something mental where like before most mains and just like before most of my races, I call for like a quarter turn ride height adjustment. So I was doing that a lot in the warm up. Yeah, I mean, the format was cool. I thought the super pole idea was really cool. The long mains and everything was cool. I think, there maybe was a couple things they didn't quite think about as far as like the double electric B mains and then having triple electric A mains, and then just not having that many actual like classes, where I think there was a lot of like all of our mains were really tight together. So, it was just a pretty intense main day. I mean, 3 10-minute Ebuggy mains and then 2 45-minute Nitro mains, all, with only like, 1, 2, or 3 races kind of in between. And then also for the pro guys, we had to marshal 2 45-minute races also. So there was definitely a lot of, just kind of a lot going on that main day, where you definitely wanted to have your stuff kind of together, which the format did work out well because we finished early on Saturday. So then, like, at least for myself, Graham and I, we just kind of knocked the cars out. I knocked the tires out. We pretty much had everything to go Saturday night. So then Sunday, we could just kind of check out the track and, you know, see the conditions, and then just kind of be ready for, you know, all the racing. So.
Why did it dry out so much? I've never seen it dry out so much like that.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe like the weather was just dry like up before. I mean, when we first got there, the track seemed like really packed in tight, like almost was already kind of grooved in.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like that first night they didn't water it because it was supposed to be really cold and like rainy the next day. But then it did end up raining until kind of later, and the track was already real dry. And then you know, even just kind of the times that I went in there after they watered, like they watered heavy kind of like in the middle of the track where it didn't really like need it, like the middle of the arena. And then the outsides, you know, mainly like coming on the front straightaway was still pretty dry. They didn't really water that part that heavy, but you know, I kind of think a lot of the race time races, they wait too long to water, and they water too heavy. And that's kind of what happened. They waited too long, and then when they water heavy, it kind of washed the groove off. And, you know, and then it would just go from like wet just to like full bone dry again. But
man, it looked
know,
like
yeah,
ice out
I
there.
don't know why it. Yeah, I mean the track was odd. It definitely wasn't. It wasn't ice. I mean, it was high grip. Even in the mains, it was high grip. But it was high grip like in a really narrow, range. You know, even when the track was fairly blown off, like just the traction groove was just really, really narrow. I mean, those buggy the mains on Sunday were just some really intense, super high focused main events, and it was really challenging, but it was, you know, a good, exciting challenge, but it was narrow for sure, especially in truck. There was, before like that little left 90 into that step up. I mean, with my truck, I felt like if I went half a tire width off, I mean, my truck would push all the way to the outside, and I couldn't even jump that, or I would just straight spin out.
Wow.
And when you're in the line, it was like really, really high grip or edgy feeling. So that was a challenging part. Was in the line, it felt really edgy. And anytime like say it like oversteered or almost went on two wheels, you go to correct it, you would just get, you know, half your tire in the dirt or whatever, and then you would just be off the track pretty much to the outside. So it was tough.
What did you end up on tire for setup?
I ran mainly clay. I pretty much ran like all clay tires in practice, mainly clay tires in qualifying, switched to super soft long wear for Q3, super pole in the mains, and I ran super soft long wear scribbles on my truck and super soft long wear zips on both buggies. Messing around with a bunch of different tire sauces. A lot of people run FDJ now, especially at the race time races. So I was messing with some different FDJ sauces, and honestly, I thought my tires were pretty good. My grip was good. You know, I think my speed was actually pretty good most of the event. I just, you know, just wasn't really in the right spot at the right time, and just kind of some costly mistakes. I mean, some of qualifying, I don't even remember where I qualified in truck. I was pretty far off in Q1 as far as like position, but then the next two I was up there, and I had the fastest. I think I had the two fastest overall, like 5-minute runs, and even in the super pole I was really fast. Just kind of had, you know, a couple, you know, unfortunate little incidences and stuff here and there. One crash, my fault, one crash, not my fault. And, you know, you just kind of get shuffled back. And then the main and truck, I got shuffled back right at the start. And I think I was a lot down before the first pit stop even. You know, fought back as hard as I can, but it's super tough, you know. Like I said, it was an up and down weekend, but really proud of our effort. We never gave up, and Graham and I worked really hard, and we made a lot of changes on the cars, and it was a really fun event. I think it's cool that they mixed it up. I'm sure there was some good and some bad, but I think overall most of the people really enjoyed it. I think they could change a couple things. I think the 45-minute mains for the pros was okay, but for the sportsman guys wasn't ideal. Sportsman and intermediate, there was not that many cars finishing.
Mm-hmm.
They probably would enjoy a 30-minute main a little bit better, but I think overall it's cool. They changed it up, and the event went really well.
Yeah, I give them a lot of credit for that because they caught a lot of flack for it, but it's great to have races kind of where they race like the rest of the world as well, and a schedule they ran ahead of schedule, which was really good. You can have a more comfortable race experience, I think. And I talked to a guy who ran 4 classes. Well, I talked to his buddy, and he said he got 383 minutes of total like actual track time. So like 6 hours and some minutes of total actual track time, and he loved it. You know what I mean? And I think that some people have to understand that not standing in line for 45 minutes to go up there for 5 minutes is not actual track time. You know what I mean? So I think there's room for both types of races.
I love the control practice. I hate the line personally. But
I don't blame
they
you.
did a great job with the schedule and everything like that. I mean, the bummer part with the line a lot of people don't get is like a big moral factor comes into it, especially in the pro classes, because you have some people that won't marshal, and you have some people that won't stand in line, that have other people stand in line, and people don't see that the big issue and the big like.
Yeah, I get it.
It can make or break someone's weekend. Like if someone is willing to not let that morally bother them, that they're skipping the marshaling and skipping the waiting in line, they can practice twice as much as, say, someone that's not willing to do that. And that is a huge factor for, the pro drivers, for how much practice time you get and stuff. And so I really hate that. It's just like, it's just like a mental moral battle kind of all day, for me with those types of events. And, it's not really that fun. So I like the controlled practice. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it makes it fair for everybody. I mean, some people will run more classes, obviously, than others, but that's their choice to run that. It's not, like you said.
Yeah, but in the pro classes, like that doesn't really come into play as much. But yeah, even for the regular guys, I mean, you just when you're gonna run, how many times you're gonna run. You can plan everything kind of accordingly. Your tires and just kind of your whole day.
Awesome.
Was the schedule pretty cool? Like, was working on a schedule pretty easy?
Yeah, I mean, I think they ran pretty like tight with it. I never really saw like an actual like timeline kind of schedule. I think they had one posted. I just wasn't really like, I wasn't looking like, okay, my qualifier runs at so and so time. I didn't really pay like that close attention, but it was I think they stayed right on target, and I thought it was good. We were getting done at good times. We weren't starting crazy early. They started pretty early on Sunday, and I think they finished way ahead of their schedule, so they could maybe have started at 8 instead of 7. But which was a bummer. Like the pros have to marshal the first race, and so I was there to marshal at 7, which makes for a pretty long day. But I wanted to kind of see how the track shaped up, and I wanted to be there anyway, so it worked out.
All right, I have one. How do you? Okay, so like Fan ran away with this from the get go. He was lapping like people by like the first fuel stop. How do you, as a racer, like that? Like we all know that you guys are equally in speed, but just at this race, he's obviously he was the fastest. Like let's be honest, he was just on fire. He was good. He TQ'd. he got off from a lead. How do you, as a racer, mentally kind of focus and say, all right, put my head down and I'm going to go, like, I'm not going to give up and I'm going to get as many spots as I get. And I actually thought that a top 5 for you was a very good result. Not maybe the result that you wanted, but you wasn't really on pace in qualifying. And I said to you, I said, that was a hard fought 5th. Like, you know what I mean? How do you do that? Like, what do you do?
Talking about?
Yeah, and Nitro Buggy.
Yeah, I got 4th, man.
4th. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
See,
man.
I'm sorry, man. I my brain is fried. Even 4th. You know, it's a hard, like, I think the JC guys seem to have an advantage from the get-go. Their tires seemed a little bit better from the get-go. But to fight back from bad qualifying, well, not bad qualifying, but so-so qualifying and all that stuff, to come back and finish a hard-fought 4th. Sorry, 4th.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, my pace was I think my pace was more under the radar than what it like actually was. I had pretty good speed. Really, I should have finished second in that super pole. I had like 2 unfortunate things, like let's clip something in the back, and I lost a bunch of spots. And then I was gonna go for the 10-minute, no pit stop, and then I was like making some spots up, flowing really good, and then I crashed off that little drop off on the back right, and the 2 marshals there were just kind of talking. That corner never really had like the marshal facing the correct kind of direction, and that was a really tricky corner. And I had crashed right there, and I knew I couldn't give it any gas because I just didn't want to risk it. And I sat there for a really long time. I lost probably 5 positions, and then had to make a couple up at the end, and and then I think I started 5th, and actually battle with Mayfield. Well, he started behind me. We both kind of came through the pack, got in 2nd and 3rd, and I was feeling pretty good. I think my like comfort and maybe my car, maybe my tires wasn't quite as good as say like Mayfield's was. And some of those guys I was racing around, Finn was gone. Sometimes he can just have this crazy speed, and he's had that multiple times in his career, whether it's 8 scale, 10 scale, and you can't really say it's car, you can't really say it's tires. There's just certain tracks where he just does crazy things with his driving, and he's like wildly talented when you're able to drive the track like really aggressively. And he was just able to do that somehow, and just had some crazy pace. But yeah, like me and Mayfield were racing really, really good. I was like, okay, 2nd, 3rd is going to be total possibility. Like, I have this. And I had a really unfortunate crash. After that, kind of like they called it the camel hump. I was just a little too tight there, and it was dusty. And I spun out kind of up the face of that roller, and I was stuck on the inside. And that marshal there, he kind of, lots of people kind of had issues kind of with him, either on that part of the track or on the other side where he was watching too, after that double after the straightaway. And man, I sat there forever, and I couldn't bounce. I was trying to like bounce off of it, but I was up on the roller, and so I dropped pretty far back after that. And then just the way the track was, I mean, pace wise, I couldn't make up any time, and so I was trying not to crash at all. And but you're risking it by just pushing the pace a little bit more than you should. And so I had a couple more mistakes and stuff. But I think I dropped down to, maybe even like 7th at one point, and, found my rhythm and charged back pretty good. Was pitting at 9 minutes, which I haven't really been able to do that many races lately. And, my cars and tires were working pretty good. And I got into 4th, and, a couple mistakes I wish I could have back. I think me and Jones could have battled pretty good. I was slowly catching them. But, happy to finish 4th. Obviously I want to finish better. I've said this a couple times on the show. I feel like this is another one where I kind of just gave up a 2nd or a 3rd position. Silver State same way, battling first, second, third most of the race, finished fifth. Go to Southern Nats, kind of same thing, battling, first, second, third, finished fifth. And then this one, never had a chance battling with the lead, but, me and Mayfield battled, and, I felt like I had the pace to race with them, and, came home fourth. So, not too stoked on it, but making progress and trying my best. That's really all you can do. And, as long as I'm kind of like in the hunt and feel like I at least have a shot, that's a positive. I wasn't out there driving around, not ever battling and just floundering around and luckily getting fourth. I had the pace to get second and just unfortunately finished fourth. But yeah, it was tough, man, for sure.
I got a question for you. I'm sorry to jump in there, Keenan. So when someone has a really fast pace and has a history of sometimes not finishing races, do you say to yourself, I'm just going to keep plugging away, but I know that my car is going to keep together? Or is that not really something that you think about?
I mean, it is and it isn't. I honestly thought when I was battling with Mayfield, I said, there's a good possibility we're fighting for the lead. Dakota's a great driver. He uses great equipment, but it's fairly common, unfortunately, for him to have issues in the main, and
he's unlucky. Let's say like that.
I don't know what causes it, or what kind of goes on. He does drive more aggressive and does things to his cars and maybe even his engine that say like I wouldn't do. Maybe that plays a role, but you never really know. I mean, there's so much to our racing. It's wild what our cars actually can go through. But yeah, it did cross my mind when me and Mayfield were battling. It was like, this could very easily be a fight for the lead. But I'm happy to see Dakota win. It's a bummer when you see people TQ and people, like having that weekend and they just don't finish it off. And me and Dakota are friends, and it was awesome to see him, finally kind of get that, dominating buggy win that, it's looked like it could have happened quite a few times, but just hadn't.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you, Daiquiri Man, for the super sticker. And hey, Jasmine says hello. She met you at the Oklahoma Super Chips race. She is she's a female drag racer, no prep drag racer.
Oh, nice.
Welcome, Jasmine. So before we wrap up AMS, we had like a watch party and we was watching, and one of the guys brought up a great point about the AMS track. He said that the AMS track was very 10 scale-ish. And that's another reason that we felt that Fenn was really good on it. It was very, like, that six-pack was very, you had to be timed right, and you had to do everything. And I think it was a fairly smooth track, so he could push a little bit more aggressive, because he is super, super aggressive. And if he got out in the dust a little bit, it wouldn't catch. It was just a lot of things that went right for him on that track, and I'm glad he won too. And I didn't pick him, so I guess I can never pick him again because they say I jinx him. But it's
all your fault, Keenan.
But no, I know, but I know it's rude, but we have a term for what happens with fend, and it's actually called fending. So he didn't fend this weekend, but
Mayfielding is okay.
Mayfielding is okay. Yeah, that's when you like he Mayfielded the field. Yeah, Fenn Mayfielded the field.
There you go.
All right, so hey guys, we're gonna come back, ask Jared some more questions, but we have to pay some bills here for our sponsors. So we would like to thank actually Techno RC for being a long time sponsor of the podcast, and they're gonna return next year. So hey, we got a commercial for them.
Techno RC. Techno RC. Techno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.technorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Techno RC. Excellence in engineering. #Techno Takeover.
You know what I just noticed? I don't think your car's in that commercial, Jared.
Yeah, I saw a lot of red and yellow in that commercial.
I
Well,
know,
I
you
didn't
know
see
what,
too much
Hook,
red, white, and blue in there.
Hooks made that for me, so that's Hooks. That's not me. But thank you to Techno RC for their support. They've been a long time sponsor of the podcast, and we greatly appreciate their support. So, Jared, another thing, and I like this. You was very open about this, and this is going to lead into our silly season talks. But you were testing a Reds at Hobbyplex about a week before the AMS race. And I like that you put it on social media. Like, I like that. I really like that. So tell us a little bit about that. You was testing the Reds at Hobbyplex. I like to call the Hobbyplex your kryptonite. It's a very hard track to go fast at, very fast locals. So I understand how difficult that track is, even though I've never been there, but I just understand. So I guess you're engine testing for 2022.
Yeah. I mean, I like to be pretty transparent, and normally we're not really like able to do things like that, but kind of the MX thing is something kind of unique where like my contract's ended, but I'm still kind of like using the product. I'm not really sure. I've kind of talked over this. It's a pretty complicated thing with the whole MX situation, and so I'm still working with them to try to see like if something's going to happen next year, but I just not quite getting all the information that I need. So, I'm definitely checking out other options. And, me and Marco have always been cool with each other and buddies and stuff. And, I've known Elliot for a long time and, have kind of seen the progression with engines. And, this summer they asked if I wanted to try an engine. And so, I didn't want to turn that opportunity down and was like, yeah, I'd love to test one. And, they just kind of came out with that new engine with the updated backplate and the 3-needle carb, which I'm a big fan of 3-needle carbs. I have a unique throttle finger, and so I tune my mid probably more than my other needles, because that mid range really sets kind of like where your engine's kind of gonna run at. Like your mid sets the engine, and then your top and your bottom kind of tune it in my opinion. So, I think that's something that they've drastically been missing. And so, yeah, I was planning on just running in at my local track fast lane and not going up to Omaha and racing and kind of keeping it all, low key and everything. But we had a bunch of rain here at home, and I wasn't able to run the engine at all, and so decided to go up to Omaha. And I was gonna put my other head on, but the way that their button is, it doesn't fit. And so I was like, whatever, I'm not gonna hide it. So I did kind of a fun little picture where you could like barely see the yellow and stuff. But honestly, the engine ran like really, really well. I liked it. It came with a lot of compression, and so I was kind of fighting through that just as the engine was, kind of just breaking in more and more, and mainly just with kind of an idle. I had a big 2-stage kind of idle with a big drop, and so I still don't quite have enough running. I have just under like a gallon on it, but as far as the power and the feeling of the engine, I was really impressed. It felt really good. It felt just had a good like linear feel, and just like a good, I would say, like, which I drive in this range a lot, is kind of like quarter to half throttle range, and that was really a good feel for me. Omaha's a unique track, really tight, really high grip. So not a super good test for an engine, but it ran really well.
And it wasn't broken in enough, so that's why you didn't use it at AMS?
Mainly I didn't use it at AMS because I only had one. And so I didn't want to go and try to kind of listen to two different engines. And, like listening and just kind of having that feel is really how you tell your tune, like how you started on the box, how it sounds and stuff. And I just thought it'd be too difficult for me to try to have kind of
Mm.
2 different fingers and 2 different ears basically the whole weekend. So that was kind of my thought process there.
Cool.
It's funny you say that because Joseph is actually like you too, is a mid-range driver. And when he was running red, the older reds, man, when I first started with him, that was always his biggest gripe. He couldn't get that mid-range tuned. And so I understand where you're talking about that mid-range tuning, that spot, because he drives there too for some reason. He's not as good as you, but definitely drives there.
Shouldn't be in the same conversation.
People, it's not necessarily even driving there. That's just kind of how the engine, you use that as like a base kind of setting to then tune the engine in. Like if your mid isn't right, which it, in my opinion, changes more with like altitude and like humidity, is where my mid range kind of changes a lot. But if your mid isn't like in the correct spot, then your bottom is is going to be leaner rich, or top's going to be leaner rich, kind of trying to counteract the offset of where that mid needle could be. But I'm no engine guy, so that's just kind of my
that's how you like it.
My feel. Yeah.
All right, cool. Speaking of silly season, David Ronafalk melted the internet last week. His departure from HB. My phone has not stopped. He's
Hey, don't play the victim on that.
Hey,
man. You're addicted to that. You're addicted.
Oh my gosh,
to
that when he made
my
that
phone
drop,
hasn't rang at all. So.
But people just talking, man. Everybody wants to know where he's going. I think this is one of the big moves in RC. This would be similar to like when you left Kyosha and went to Techno. When Drake left TLR, Tessman left HB. This is big news. Like he's done good things at HB. He's a world champion. He's been a European champion, I believe. DNC, lots of big things. I think this is really big, just period, for HB, for him. Nobody knows what he's going to do. He keeps teasing people. I'm excited for this. This is the type of stuff that I think makes our industry exciting. But what are your thoughts on David's departure? And Adrian, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to add on to Adrian. I think that's kind of the crazier part. When I first heard, I was like, oh, man, he's like leaving Adrian. I thought that was really odd. And, then later I saw that, they're both going. And, it's a huge move for both of them. And, like you said, I mean, David has done pretty much everything in his career with HB. I mean, he was a great driver for Kyosho, but he wasn't quite like at that top tier like level like he was once he kind of moved on to HB and got a little bit older, a little more experience and stuff, and won I think a bunch of European championships. I know probably 2-wheel, 4-wheel, and HCL Nitro. His world championship. I think a podium in 10 scale out of Worlds. Maybe even 2 of them. I'm not sure. But huge move. I had no idea. Me and David are friends, but unfortunately, with us not really racing together, at all these last couple of years, we don't really, talk much or anything right now. So, I have no idea. I wasn't expecting it at all. And I don't know where he'll really go, because him and Adrian have to both kind of find a spot. I thought maybe like TLR in Europe or something would be like a pretty good spot for both of them, just because they don't have much presence there. But
what do you think of Infinity? Could be something that we speculated too.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought Infinity, but
I don't think so.
That seems like it's kind of like dying down some.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. I just don't really see that much about it.
I know what you mean.
Kind of had like a prototype car, but then, like Ricardo's kind of driving it or driving something, but they're not like posting about it. I don't really see like Naoto racing as much, anymore as he was, but I don't follow. Yeah, it sounds. I don't follow RC like super tight to where
Mhm.
I don't exactly know what those guys are
Mhm.
all doing. But I just don't really think it would be something like Infinity. A lot of people at AMS were like, "Oh, it's going to be Mayako or something like that."
Half the
I
internet
wish.
thinks it's
So yeah.
Mayako.
I
What?
wish. I wish. I grilled Joseph really hard on the last podcast, and I don't know, something's up, but I don't know if it's Runafolk. And Runafolk's been teasing me as well. He'll send me a message and show me a picture. I'm like, oh yeah, check this, and I'm hurt. And then that sends me off on a whole wild goose chase somewhere, and it's like I'm addicted to this stuff, man. I love silly season, man. I think it's super important to our industry because I think it's like the one, like it's like trade season or like at the end of the year when your favorite motocross guys are gonna switch teams. I really enjoy it. I'm into it. I love the drivers that get into it because they make it fun. I know some drivers don't like it. Companies probably don't like it, but I think it's important because this is the stuff that me and my buddies would be talking about in is Jared there or did he leave? Hold on.
Oh,
Oh no, he's gotta come back on. Hold on.
I was about to say that this guy, Jared, right there, he played the silly season game pretty hard. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Hey Jared, if you could shoot him a message and we'll get him back in here.
Yeah, do that. I'll do the clown like I usually do.
So anyway, guys, we got BJ in. He got 15 laps at his local track. EKJ, what's up, man? Left tire salute. Jimmy Pizarro says I vote for Mayako. While I get Jared back in, you guys can ask some questions, I guess, and we'll just try and get him in. I don't know what's happened. His phone is actually his camera, so he's probably a little bit lost here. So we'll see. It says device not connected. Let me kick him from the studio and then send him another invite. So Kevin, what's going on real quick while I try to do this? Tell us about what your track, CTS, what is it again? Your track where you guys are built? Yes.
CTSR. So we're club racing every 2 weeks. Club racing this weekend should be a pretty cool turnout. We also have a carpet track that opened up 1 or 2 weeks ago. For all you guys that complain about carpet and stuff like that, I think we're doing something pretty cool at home. So everybody runs slicks for Proline guys, JC guys, or probably AKA. I'm not so sure about that, but people are running clay slicks. They'll stay on the same tire for probably almost. There you go.
You're back. You're back.
I'm back.
Kevin was just,
I don't know what happened.
He was just telling us about his 10
that.
scale track. No worries, man. Finish up, Kevin.
I'll just finish up quickly. That's what she said. So basically, we've been running clay slicks on carpet, so it really decreases tire wear. It decreases tire costs. For tracks for people that want to get into carpet racing, that could be a really good solution. So just my 2 cents. So
it's a beautiful facility, dude. This facility is awesome, Jared. Yeah. You got to see some pictures of it. It's,
I gotta do a vlogging episode in English, and I'll send it to you. It's a 2-story building. They have a carpet track on top that they alternate between on-road racing and carpet oval racing. And on the first story, there's a dirt off-road track and a dirt oval track. So there's like 80 pit spaces with lighting, with electricity. It's state of the art, man. It's unbelievable.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah. So we're trying to apply for more races, and sometime we'll try and not make money, but host a pretty cool race.
Yeah, man.
Oh, cool.
What's up, Sean? What's up, Dennis? What's up, Maury RC? Thanks for joining us, guys. If you ain't shared this, please share it. And yeah, so Jared, what's your thoughts on the whole silly season thing? You play into it. I like that you do. Do you think we should hype this up a little bit more? Do you think it helps bring some excitement and charisma to what I think is a very vanilla sport at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Some people I don't know, don't like some of the articles or whatever kind of pop up.
Don't like me. That's it. They don't like me. They don't like me. They don't like me because I geek out on it.
Well, no, you don't really come up. It's funny because Tyler, works for Live RC, And so we have like a techno group chat, like all of us talking, and like his nickname's the Fuzz. And it's always like, like we'll say something like, "Oh no, the Fuzz is here," 'cause, like, we can't say
Comment was deleted.
anything because it's like the live RC guys on there. He's gonna say something. So that's just kind of a fun like insider kind of thing we have. But I think it's awesome. Like fans, no matter what it is, like fans want to follow it. I mean, I love Supercross, motocross. When you're hearing about riders switching and riding different bikes and stuff, it's awesome. That's gets people excited, and I think silly season's a huge part of just kind of the excitement and people being able to learn more, follow more, whatever, learn some personality. Maybe like if a driver kind of jokes around and plays to the silly season. Some companies I think take it maybe a little too strict with like not wanting anything to like leak out or whatever. But like I get that side too. But one side you have like the business with the company and like certain logistics there, but the other side, not like we're entertainers, but we do have to have a fan base and have a following, and because those people are going to want to buy the products that we're using. So I think it's great. I like that you kind of stir it up some and post about it. I think it's cool.
And the power of the internet right now is it doesn't take long for you to look at what happened with the Mayfield at the Worlds. It doesn't take much for just one picture and everybody hears about it.
But that's just the way of the world.
It's a good and bad tool,
Yeah. Your teammate tuned in. What's up, Tyler Jones? When are we gonna change your nickname to the Truth? I told him he's got to win, and then he stops becoming the Dark Horse and it becomes the Truth. Tyler the Truth Jones.
What about Tebes?
Yeah.
Is that?
Your new nickname, because everybody that comes on there has to have a nickname.
Yeah.
So you know how like who does Mathis have? That guy Weege or what? Yeah, Weege. So like so that's the easiest one for you is Tebes. And then like we also have Rowan.
Fine. I'm cool with it. It's better than Tebo. I hate being called Tebo.
Oh, I will Tebes from now on.
Cool. I'm cool with Tebes. That's fine.
We're gonna have to
Could be worse names out there.
Yeah.
All right. So before we take some questions, we got a couple more things I wanted to go through. 2022 Worlds has been announced in Redavon. I am super pumped about going to Redavon. I hopefully will be there. How about you, man? Redavon, have you been? Have you ever been there?
I haven't been there. That one Ebuggy was there. I opted, not to go. The place looks amazing. I really hope that kind of everyone's able to go. I think it will be challenging for the U.S. drivers. I don't know exactly like layout change and different things with that type of place, but those fast, flowy European style tracks is definitely something we don't really have.
That was my
it'd be awesome to have a world championship happen again, and hopefully all goes well. I definitely want to go. Plan on going unless there's like some vaccine restrictions or something like that. But
that was my question. Are they redoing the track? How is it gonna work?
They are.
And it's gonna be a fresh layout only for that race.
I don't know the exact what the Worlds requires.
Because that's the thing.
There's always gray area there, though. I mean, like that Sicily Worlds, they had to change the track, and I mean, all they did was add like half an inch of dirt to the whole track.
Yeah,
which got washed away anyways. And there's always been kind of some gray areas with some of those track changes. Sweden was another one. That layout had been the same for like 20 something years. But
it's still the same.
Yeah. I mean, that was a darn fun track too. I'd love to drive a couple more laps on that track.
It's still got the that hill with the chicane on the top.
Freak about the track layout. The best guy is gonna win, regardless. But I do think the U.S. guys, I like those style tracks. I do feel like I drive those style tracks pretty good, but it takes some time. You know, it's just a different driving feel when you have to like use wheel input, like you're changing throttle input and wheel input kind of like at the same time, and like changing both of them through like faster sections. You know, we're normally like fast race section, corner, you know, like you brake, you do your corner, you exit. Or sometimes there it's like lift a little, get back on, make a little bit of a corner, but you're still like on the throttle, or you're like jumping something at an angle. So it's just a lot different, you know, driving style really.
Anyways, you guys are going to be there long enough that you'll have time, I think, to practice, eh?
Yeah, I mean, the world schedules have kind of changed the last couple of times. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what kind of schedule they'll be doing. I know if there's no warm-up, they normally do a longer schedule. Like, that's what the deal was with Australia. But they're having a warm-up. So I would assume that they would go back to their more standard, shorter schedule. I know for us, if everything looks all good and we're able to go and stuff, you know, the plan is to do the warm up and the race. So, you know, that's a big plus. But yeah, just got to kind of wait and see as time gets closer.
Awesome. I think, when was the, Italy was the last time I was in South America, in Europe. So it's going to be interesting to see.
In Sicily.
Yeah. And man, this track is just huge, and it is all about corner speed and carrying that speed, like you said, through it. So it's going to be really interesting to see what's up. What's up, Kyle Neary? He says you had you in practice was one of my picks to win. He's already. Hey, I love it. He's already accepted your nickname and calling you Tebos. I love it. We got my boy Kenneth Popenher saying Lefty bang bang. What's up, dude? All right. So before we go, we got DNC coming up. Now, that's going to be another race where you can go up and get some practice and whatnot like that, because it's going to be in Paris, you know, and Joey has a permanent track there now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that track's already all there.
So you can go up there and get some actual practice. It's going to be a lot of people practicing there. I think we're going to see a high contingency of Europeans from everybody that I've talked to is coming for maybe 2-3 weeks at a time.
And
really?
It's
just, I think,
wow. Yeah, because I don't know when he'll shut it down. You know, I mean, like I won't practice there at all beforehand because, you know, we normally go like that weekend kind of before, but you know they'll be doing the track and everything there, so we'll probably just do like Palm Desert and like Thunder Alley or something like that.
Super sticker alert!
But you can still get it. You can still get a pretty good feel.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I think we're going to see probably the biggest group of, if COVID don't mess up anything, we're going to see one of the biggest group of Europeans coming over to race this race. Because they've been waiting for 2 years.
All the Euro guys could come over. Yeah, that'd be super sweet. I mean, yeah, the last time they were all there, it was an awesome event for sure.
Yeah, it's an iconic race, and it's just made itself like. If you ask a lot of these racers, they have it up there like Worlds, Euros, Nationals, and then like DNC, or even some of these guys who are higher than Nationals or Euros. So I always tell people it's a great race to go witness because it's a great show. You see, it's just like a Worlds. It's probably missing a few people, but it's just like a Worlds. I was going to ask you about your prep, so you already talked to me about that. So no worries. It's going to be massive.
Yeah,
I can't wait to be there.
SIC, and then, you know, I normally do like an Omaha race, SIC, and then, we kind of just, you know, go in, get ready. I mean, now, you know, there's a Nats warm-up, I think, the end of January, so I don't know if we have plans to maybe go do that. And even if we did that, maybe then we could go to Paris for a day or something and just drive over there.
That's going to be a busy start of the season.
We haven't quite worked into our first quarter schedule yet, but we'll just have to see.
It's going to be busy, like Kevin said. You're going to be busy.
Yeah. It will be busy for sure, especially with the Nats in March, which is pretty odd. So that would be interesting. Kind of at a newer track, seems pretty small, almost seems same size as like Fastlane. Super rocky, it looks like. So that'll be cool. Go somewhere different.
Sweet. Also,
Are you
thank you.
sorry about that. Are you going to do anything special with silly season? Are you going to change anything? Are you going to play the game again, or are you still not sure about all of that?
Okay.
I'm pretty much set just with the engine. We haven't really made like official announcement yet, but I've signed with Tegan for my electronics, which I'm pretty stoked about.
NNRC
Jim
exclusive
and
right
those
there.
guys
Congratulations.
over there are,
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. Thanks. Really happy to be working with those guys. And so I've ran that stuff quite a bit, but haven't really had like the support or anything like that. And I think we can get it feeling really, really good. And pretty much the last thing is just my engine program. My fuel, I have the Nitro Pro JTP blend, which we've kind of gone a little quiet on that very first batch before the US Open. We think we kind of ran into a little issue with going from kind of the test small batches to then the first big, like large production batch. And so we kind of pulled that stuff back and did a bunch of testing and stuff. And we made a new batch that I ran at AMS. It worked really, really good. And so we're going to be pushing that again. I wanted to make sure it was right and all good. So we kind of went silent on that a little bit, but we'll be posting something soon if that's, all good to go and we got it all figured out. And, we'll be looking for dealers and shops and stuff to carry it. And I'm excited about that product. It works really, really good. Like I said, AMS, I pitted 9 minutes, both classes, ran the whole 10-minute buggy super pole, which was really cool. And I'm signed for another year with Techno, and I'm on for another year with AKA. And so everything's pretty much set. Just gotta decide on this engine thing, and it's pretty stressful. Not really gonna lie, I'm pretty stressed about it right now. Just want to make the right decision, and I gotta earn an income and be able to provide for my family in that way. And then I want to have a good engine too. I've been down that road where I've had a lot of flame outs and just had kind of issues and stuff towards the end of my Orion deal. And, I don't want to get myself in any situation like that. But, was surprisingly happy with that Reds engine. And so, I'm kind of in talks with both and just trying to see what works out best, for everybody, for the company and for myself and for JTP. I'm trying to add more products and kind of grow that brand a little bit more. And it's got to work out for kind of all three parties, really.
Cool. Yeah, and your servos as well, right there. Product placement.
Yeah, man. We got the new CT2 servos. Man, I'm actually like really, really happy with this servo. There's been kind of something I wanted to do as far as servo design, like in the case for a long time. I just never really had the opportunity to do it. And so we're able to kind of pull the trigger on it. It's a pretty innovative design. No other servo has it. We're not really advertising it or anything like that. You'd have to get one and crack it open and kind of see what's inside. But it's a really, really good servo, something that I'm pretty proud of. And with my JTP, I'm not that interested in just slapping my name on a product and just, I want to have a part in it, have a piece in it, and, say like, this is something I believe in and something that I've helped with and that I run and trust. And, with our time constraints we had last year, we kind of just put my name on an existing servo, which, was the best we could do for that time. But we took, a good 6 months to really work on something new and exciting. And, we're able to come out with it, and people are going to love it. It's still priced really well, $135. And I'd say it's the best or one of the best 8-scale servos that you can buy for sure.
Awesome, man. You get it. Like Brandon putting your name on stuff, getting involved. That's all stuff that's going to benefit you here in the future. So, and also if you guys want to pick up some servers and stuff, you can go to www.jtprc.com. I think that's
Link
it.
in the comments.
It's shopjtp.com. But
is it? Did I get it wrong? No, because when I go to your
it says jtprc.com.
No, man, because that's what it says right here on your website.
Click on
actually.
store.
But good stuff, man. I'm glad to see you doing things like that. I think that's what we should do as professional drivers and stuff like that. Get involved with your stuff, get your branding on it, and and then that makes it for you like something that you can do maybe when you retire and stuff like that as well, and stay in the industry.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. We wear a lot of different hats in this industry. The drivers. It's tough to earn a living, and it's been cool to kind of start my own brand. It's been fun. I've never wanted it to be like a full-time anything, but as I'm getting older, it's like, man, this is a pretty good opportunity. I definitely shouldn't let it let it slip away from me. So I'm trying to take advantage of it. And we keep it small. It's down here in my basement. Pretty much I package just about every order, and if I'm not here, Megan's packaging them, and we want to keep it small. We don't, it's not going to be anything crazy huge, but it's a huge blessing for us. Provide some income. Normally pays for me and my kids' hobbies. Pays for our mountain bikes and all that stuff. So I don't have to.
Yeah, there you go.
Jack with any of our, house funds.
Yeah. Anything you gotta hustle, man. People gotta hustle, and if you want things, you gotta get income from everywhere. You know what I mean? So that's a good hustle for you.
It's cool to learn. It's just cool to learn new things too.
Exactly, as well.
It's always good to learn something new.
Okay. I want to say thank you to Jason Roberts. He gave us a super chat of $19.99. I appreciate that, good buddy. Had a good time at AMS. Robert Parente, thank you, dude, for the super chat as well. We greatly appreciate that. And Daiquiri Man, he gave us one early. We greatly appreciate that. So one more question, then we're going to open up the phone line. No phone lines tonight, just questions. I'm having some technical issues with that. All right, so I know you don't do 10 scale much, Jared, but we got a very big carpet race down in Florida. We have Europeans over, some of the fastest Europeans on carpet. Have you seen the track? Yeah, you've seen the track. You told us earlier. What do you think about this,
I
man?
saw a picture of the track on Facebook today. I think it's awesome. The U.S. has kind of, picked up its carpet game the last couple of years. It seems like we have some really good tracks. Unfortunately, I haven't really driven on any carpet tracks or anything like that. I actually like driving on turf and carpet. I think it's really fun. And it's just a whole different driving experience. I didn't realize so many people were coming to this race. I was looking up at the lineup today when I saw the post, and to see Orlowski and Yorn and Bayer, and then like all the pretty much like all the U.S. guys gonna be there. It's gonna be pretty exciting. I'm pretty curious to see kind of who's fighting for it. Like, I don't really think Ty has really done any carpet big races before. He did that Worlds, but
I think he was here last year, wasn't he?
There was
even
a warm
made
up.
any names, but
there was a warm up in March. I think he was there. Cav was there.
Oh,
Mayfield
really? Yeah.
was there. Rock was there. A lot of guys went March. I think I might be off on the date, but there was this winter there was a race.
Cool. Yeah. And I would think like Orlowski and Yorn be super fast, and I think Mayfield just did some carpet racing, and I would think like Dakota would be really fast because I don't know how much like carpet and turf he drives on, but I'm sure they have some good setups and stuff, and I think that would suit him pretty well, and like Rivkin and then
it's gonna be interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Yeah, for sure.
Do you see that and miss it a little bit?
I do. Yeah, I miss 10 scale a lot. I really like 10 scale. 2-wheel mod is one of my favorite cars to drive. You know, I like the braking of a 2-wheel drive car a lot better than a 4-wheel drive car. And, you know, just kind of the way that you use the brakes and use the throttle and steer the car and everything. So I definitely miss it. You know, it's just, I'm in a spot and a time in my career where, you know, techno's more 1/8 scale focused, and that's, you know, where they're wanting me to be, which is cool. I think, you know, for me, it's a little bit, it kind of goes both ways. Like Adam's been 8 scale focused for a long time. I'm like, man, like if I was 8 scale only focused, like I'd be so much better. And but it's different because you don't get to like mix it up. You know, that is kind of the one cool thing when you do 10 scale and 8 scale. Like by the time I'm sick of my 8 scale cars, it's time to go race 10 scale. When I'm getting sick of those, it's time to go race 8 scale. So I think there is kind of a role there, and you know, I do miss it a lot, but I can't complain at all. I'm super happy where I'm at and the races I'm getting to go to, and I would say I enjoy going to the smaller 8 scale races that I'm allowed to go to right now more than say if I was only doing all big races and splitting it between 10 scale and 8 scale.
Okay. I'm pretty
Makes
sure
sense.
people are really happy to see you too at smaller 8 scale races. Like I think you have a lot more FaceTime with most of the consumer there, and you'll have a bigger effect than going 10 scaling or whatnot.
Yeah, and I think moving forward too, we're going to jump on that a little bit more and kind of plan a little bit better to kind of, you know, hit more races and maybe even bring some JTUs back into play. That's been in the talks a little bit, and I'd really like to do that. And I enjoy going to the smaller races, and yeah, I mean, it helps out Techno a lot. It helps out my JTP brand, and you know, it's fun. Like I like talking to people. I like talking to customers. You know, it's just tough at the big races to have time to talk to everybody.
I know that there's a pretty big techno presence in Canada, and that you did pretty well last time you came in Quebec. So if you ever want to come up, reach out and I'll make it happen. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever actually raced in Canada.
I thought you were there in 2014 when Drake, Cav, and I thought you made the.
No, I was supposed to go up there one year, but it never actually happened. To the Quebec Classic, yeah. No, I never did.
Make it happen, Kevin.
I do definitely want to go. I do want to go up there. I mean there's that Techno guy. I think John. He has a killer track up there.
Yeah.
And I'd love to make it up there for sure.
Yeah,
John
we'll make it happen.
Blanky, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
What? Otterville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otterville. That track looks super fun.
Sweet. All right. I think make that happen, Kevin. Tebo at the Quebec Classic. That's your job. You can do that. I know you can do that. All right.
Tell me.
Get me an RC track over by Whistler in the summertime too.
There you go.
No. I'll get something better. I'll get you to Bromont. They have a pretty sick bike park. It's not the same same elevation as Whistler, but trust me, you'll have a blast, man. It's an hour away.
Sweet.
Nice.
All right. I think we're gonna go into some questions. We have a few here, and this is kind of like a normal podcast. So the questions are brought to you by Beach RC. They have also been a long time supporter of the podcast. Thank you to Brent and Beach RC. I heard they're about to do some big things coming up as well. So thank you. Check them out.
BeachRC.com, the Racer's one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lux Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at beachrc.com today.
I'm sorry, Tebo. I cut you off. I'm sorry, Teebs. I didn't mean to do
I
that.
didn't realize that sweet commercial was about to pop on.
I am, man. Hey,
Keenan's serious now, eh?
Hey, I was just saying that Beach RC's been doing a great job. It's cool, that they go to the races, have the trailer, and have parts, and they have a whole bunch of stuff in there. I've been getting all my FDJ sauce from them at all the races, so I appreciate them going to all the races for sure.
And Lucas has been vlogging.
Yes.
He's been doing a great job, man.
His vlogs are really good.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Really good. All right. So guys, we're gonna have some questions. I'm going back into some. We're probably gonna do this about 15 minutes. I'm not trying to be on her too long, but let's get those questions in. Kyle Neary, he says, did Joe? I guess he's talking about, did Teebs feel more or less pressure being on Techno this year? Hey, what's up? What's up? Hey, buddy. Is that Nash?
It's bedtime. Someone's sneaking down here. Yeah, he's supposed to be going to bed, I'm sure, but he
What's
wants
up, dude?
to
How are
be
you?
An ornery little boy. Not right now, but
Hey, yeah, I know all about that. I know all about that.
Real life,
he
man.
wants me to go upstairs and cuddle with him. Put him to bed.
Soon. Give us 15 minutes. That's Nash, right?
Yeah.
A little bit. Okay. Yeah, that's nice.
He had a birthday recently. Happy birthday to him. Happy belated.
It's a birthday season over here. Today is actually Rosalind's birthday. She just turned
Really?
11.
Well, happy birthday to her.
So
Congratulations.
Yep. All right, sorry. Go on with the question.
No worries. So Kyle wants to know, Teebs, do you feel more or less pressure being in a Techno this year with how deep the talent pool was?
No, not really. I think it's been kind of beneficial to all of us because I don't know. For me, I felt like when you're kind of like the only guy that has a chance to do well, then you have a lot of pressure because it's like, oh man, like if I don't do good, no one's gonna, like the company is not gonna be like up there. But there was a lot of races where we had multiple guys on the podium. So, some people might take that as more pressure, but I don't know. It didn't give me any more pressure. It was almost less. I know, like, oh, if I don't, have that good of a race, we have good guys that are going to have a good race. So Techno's still up there and showing how good the cars really are. So, no real added pressure on my end. You still, like, the goal is always to be the best. Like, I want to finish the highest Techno for sure at every race. But I take that more as motivation instead of pressure. So I didn't really feel any pressure.
There you go. I think it's I think you're the veteran of that team, and I think you still had the probably the better year of the young guys. So I think they're chasing you at the end of the day, which is fine. But that's my opinion.
They're still chasing me over there for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're chasing you.
They're getting closer.
Yeah. Corey Merritt, I this is an old school guy. I guess remember back in the day at your house track, you had a race, and me and Dagani came to. Remember Bobby Tillman blowing his head off when he lit the gallon of fuel on fire. Anything with Greg involved, I'm sure was crazy. Do you remember Corey Merritt?
No, I can't really put a face to the name. But I remember Bobby getting his eyebrows and part of his face singed off. Yeah, that was before I lived here, but that was at my father-in-law's, Megan's parents' house at their track. Okay. And they always had a big race on 4th of July. And of course, everyone from California was like, oh my gosh, fireworks. And because you can buy like anything here. And of course, now I don't really buy any of the cool fireworks. But, back then we were like nuts with the fireworks. And so I don't remember what we were really doing, but we were like, I don't know if we were kind of like shaking the fumes and then putting like a firecracker in a really low fuel jug or something. But yeah, Bobby kind of shook it and then like leaned over it to like light the match, and it basically just torched straight into his face and just caught his whole face on fire. which was not ideal. Yeah,
dude, Bobby Tillman was so fast back in the day. He's like another guy that was on the cusp of being a pro and just like kind of gave up too early, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, some circumstantial things, but it's tough, man. It's there's a lot of work involved, a lot of work, and some are willing to do it just to like get past that kind of crest, and some just aren't, unfortunately. And yeah, he was a great guy, great kid, great driver, but
worlds. I think he's made a couple of worlds finals. I think
he made one when the Jakarta.
I meant to always ask you. I think Kevin's battery died, but
I'll take care of it.
I always, I listen to Greg's stories, and obviously Greg and all those guys. Hold on. Is that? Oh, that's your daughter. I think
that would be Nash asking me.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Upstairs on the Alexa. I have an Alexa back there. I might need to unplug
it. I heard all these stories like back in the day, because it was like you, Cav, and Mayfield that grew up around these older fast guys back in the day. Was it? Do you guys like? It seems like you all have a mutual respect for each other. Like you joke around with each other, but you still have a mutual respect for each other. Do you have a lot of respect for those older guys like Quartz and Dagani and other Pavitas and these guys who were?
Yeah, I mean it was different. That kind of Quartz, Dagani, Pavitas, Saxton era, like right when say me and Cav were coming in. Mayfield kind of came in a little bit later. They were just very different. They didn't really they weren't friends. They weren't respectful to each other, like on the track. And so I don't know, I feel like me, Cav, and Mayfield kind of changed that, because we were all friends off the track, and then we realized that we race each other so much that we really shouldn't be like enemies on the track. And we kind of just found this good balance, where, we just weren't that happy if we did something dirty to get a win. And we just kind of had a respect for each other. And it was way different with the group kind of before us.
They were rough. It was rough back then.
So
I heard the stories.
The respect thing would be different. As far as how they drove, especially us, I would say I had very little respect for them. As far as their race results and things like that, and their spot in the industry at that time, I respected it, but it was just different. Racing was just different. It was, more cutthroat. I mean, there was a race at Hot Rod where we're coming up to the mains, and Dagani locks me in a Porta-John trying to have me miss my race, legit trying to have me miss my race. And
that sounds like,
just big mind games. I mean, me and Quartz, I mean, he was brutal. He was brutal to me. He had me crying on the driver's stand a lot of times, just saying really hurtful, mean things, during driver intros, trying to get me worked up. And, it backfired. If I was mad, I won. So he made me win a lot. And then Pavitas was really dirty to us on the track, me and Cat.
Really?
And so it was just different. That stuff doesn't happen anymore. I think with social media, there's a lot more accountability and stuff like that. It just doesn't really go. But then me, Kevin, Mayfield just started a respect for each other, on and off the track, to where now, you would just look like a fool if you went on the gyro stand and was making fun of somebody and trying to make them get upset, where, at a certain time it was oh, look, he's trying to get them upset or whatever. And it was just different.
It was rough back then. You know,
Can
guys
you imagine? Can you imagine Keenan trying to report news what it used to be back in the day, how he is now? Like
It would be impossible.
There's one racing incident between Fenn and Rivkin, and he talks about it for like 2 months.
Oh man, it was rough back then. I used to hear like guys breaking each other's antennas and all that type of stuff. And I guess it was like a hazing for you guys. You know, you use the younger guys coming in and they just kind of, you know, hey, like who's these young? Well, like, yeah, like they probably saw the potential that you guys had. I mean, because look at all three of you still carrying this swing in RC. All right, Katie Carmendi of Race Like a Girl. She says we'd love to bring you to the JTU Future Stars thing. She race. What she does is she it's a very, very good program. She gets like local pros to team up with young novice drivers and coach them for the day. And like they get all these tires and all this stuff and they give them to different drivers. It's a really good program she's doing in North Carolina. You should go on her podcast too, Race Like a Girl, because she's putting in a lot of work.
I've been on there, and she actually had Megan on there before. Yeah,
she did. I remember that.
Yeah, maybe I haven't been on there, but she had Megan on there for sure.
Yeah, I need to bring on the pod too.
Her husband are really cool.
I need to, very nice people. I need to bring her on to explain the future stars. All right, Chris Nunez says, "What's up? What's up, Chris?" I was talking to him and he was at the Hobbyplex as well. BJ Williams, he says, "Jared, you've been in the RC game for a long time. Do you have any favorite RC moments from your career?"
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot. You know, I've gone through kind of, you know, multiple like ups and downs and stuff in my career. I can think of, I mean, shoot, just the first couple memories. The first memory was, it would be 2006 Gas Truck Nationals. You know, if you don't know my history, my dad was my mechanic for a long time. Got himself in some trouble, went to prison beginning of 06, and we didn't really plan. Like, I had never really worked on my cars, and I never built a car, and so it was kind of a hot mess at the start. And the very first kit I ever built was the GT2, and the first one, and I won that national, and that was really, really special. It was, you know, I kept my win streak going, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to be able to build the car and like make it finish, and it was kind of up and down weekend, and that was you know, just a really challenging time in my life, and so that was really, really special. The next would be the World Championship in 07. You know, and kind of same thing. I'm just, you know, kind of just learning this new life. I had moved away from California, got married, you know, was doing all my own mechanic stuff, and, you know, definitely wasn't expected to win that weekend. And that was still probably the best I've ever driven in my life, that day that I won. And so that was really special. And I have a bunch. The 2-wheel drive worlds, having Megan there, and Rosalind was really special. And even the 2017 Nats, I had all my kids there. That was really special too. That was, you know, not expected by many people. And just to have the whole family there was something super special.
And you had Francis there.
Nice.
Francis Ortiz is my buddy. You know Francis.
Oh, okay.
He lives here.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah. I just remember when you won that. Like the first thing we saw was not like your family talking to you. It was like Francis giving you a big hug and saying congratulations and all that stuff. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
What was you gonna say, Kevin? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Is there one thing you were like, oh, I was so close after all these years of racing? If there's one thing you could take back, or you were so close, or something?
Oh, for sure.
What's that one thing?
Oh, Pattaya World, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Man, what I would give to do that race over, or just do that last day over. Yeah, I mean, that race has haunted me for a long, long time. I actually had nightmares about that race for probably a year. And,
Really?
you know, even after that main, I didn't sleep for 4 days
Wow.
after that
What would you have done different?
day. Well, we had a mismarked set of tires go on my car. It was just really kind of a bummer. The tires that I was running, we had glued up early, and like we had the main tires like all set, and then it was like after the Saturday before the Sunday, they like prepped the track and they almost like concreted it. I don't know exactly what they put down, but the surface was way harder and it wasn't dusty. And so we weren't sure like how my city beams would still work. So in the semi, I ran the city beams and they just weren't that good. Cody King went a lot better on the impacts. So after the semi, we're like, oh man, we need to mount up impacts. And Mark Pavitas got some out and he was like cleaning them with some motor spray. And I was like, no. Like, I want Joe to do them, like whatever he's been cleaning them with. So then Joe got a different set, was cleaning them with whatever he was cleaning them with. He glued them and everything. And I never even like felt them, or, you know, we just put them on my car. And in warm up, I was like, man, something doesn't feel right. But I just thought I was like really nervous. So we didn't really look into anything. And then about 15, 20 minutes into the main, I could feel it. My front tires were going bald, and a mismarked box of tires, they had green dots, which was soft on them, but they were actually super soft tires.
Oh, wow.
And so super soft tires got put on my car for the main. And yeah, they just went bald like before halfway. And so I lost all my pace, and yeah, ended up finishing third. And, you know, when I truly think that that was my best opportunity to win for sure.
I could hear it. Even it's painful for you to talk about it now. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is. It's just, yeah, just those opportunities only come up so many times. And, you know, even the next one, 2012, man, I had one of my best ever Orion engines, and I wanted to save it for the Worlds, and Adrian told me to send it to him so he could kind of go through it and have it saved. And then I never got it back, and we were having engine issues and stuff at Orion before that race. I never got that engine back, and went there with just some janky engines that weren't running very good, and just had taken over the lead in the semi, and my engine just flamed out, and I didn't even make the main. And, you know,
Wow.
I was battling with Robert in the semi, and had just taken the lead. I mean, not like, oh, I was leading and had a big lead. Like, we were fighting, and I, you know, was leading like a lap. But I had pace to fight for that Worlds too, and you know, just wasn't able to.
Yeah. Argentina. We have a couple more questions, and I think that's going to be it, because we were only supposed to do an hour and 15 minutes.
Over.
All right. So Sky Samurai, how would the pros feel racing on classic 10 scale buggies like RC10? I guess in a classic race where everybody's in the same car.
Oh, I mean, we would all think it's pretty awesome. I mean, I don't think that many people enjoy driving the really high grip mid-engine stuff on the two-wheel right now. You know, they're just so hard and edgy to drive. And it'd be super fun. Like, we all pride ourselves on the driving, so I think we'd all be in for that if we could have something where the cars would be all the same. It's like, okay, let's see who can manhandle these cars the best, because, you know, we're all proud of our driving skills. I think we'd be all for it.
Nice.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I just said nice.
Louis Q, he says, Jared, what's your thoughts on the Kingpin mod for the cars?
Yeah, he's probably talking about the Techno cars. The Kingpin mod, like Thornhill makes, mount the upper camera link to the spindle Kingpin. I personally don't run it. I don't like the feel. It gives a pretty decent feel like into the corner, but it keeps the car steering on exit is what I've kind of found. And just I'm a driver that gets on the throttle pretty early, and I really have a difficult time with the feel on the exit of the corners. I think it's pretty decent for lower grip where you can like rotate harder on exit, but I think on the higher grip situations, the car is drastically harder to drive, especially on like a really flowy track where you're, like say you're opening the wheel on throttle, like on exit, where it's not like a tight square up corner. For me, I just have a hard time driving accurate with that. So I prefer just to run the standard Techno part with the not mounted straight to the kingpin.
Sweet. So we have 2 more questions here, and then we're going to call it a night because you got to put Nash to sleep and Kevin's got to go. Jake Wilkin, we saw you race gas truck at the Hobbyplex. What do you think of the new Ignite kits compared to the older kits? What do you think about the gas truck revival?
I think the gas truck revival going on, super cool. Chad Parks is a longtime friend of mine. He's the owner of Ignite. I played a very tiny role in kind of helping a little bit last year and, doing some testing and stuff. I think the car drives, or the truck, drives really good. It's definitely stiffer than say like what we ran, back, especially if you ran like a GT, but they drive surprisingly well. It was fun. I didn't really drive the truck at all. They had like a rental truck that someone else was driving, and then they broke it all day. So the guy didn't even want to race in Maine. He's like, "Oh, hey, you want to race in the Maine?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And so it was kind of a rush deal. But it was cool. The truck drove pretty good. The brakes and stuff. To have the gas truck really like work how it should, especially how like I would want to drive it, the brakes have to be a certain way, and so I wasn't quite able to have that feel. But Hobbyplex, that track up in Omaha is a great place for gas truck. It's good size, has a lot of grip, and it was fun. As far as I've been getting asked a bunch like, "Oh, is it going to come back?" No, gas truck's not going to make a comeback like on the national scene. The tracks just aren't set up for it. I mean, like you couldn't drive a gas truck at that AMS track. There's just no way. You'd be rolling way too many jumps, and there's certain areas and certain tracks where the gas trucks suit that track really well, and I think those tracks are seeing that revival happen. I think it's awesome. It's not going to take off like everywhere, but it doesn't really have to. It's taken off enough to where people are excited about it. Ignite's able to make a little bit of money, make it worth his time to be able to do all the products he's doing. And I think, exactly what Chad was wanting to happen is happening. So I'm pretty happy for him.
Can you imagine a gas truck at Silver State when it's completely blown out?
They did it. They used to do it back in the day.
That works really good. Yeah, that's not a problem. Silver State wouldn't be an issue because you don't really have like, he knows the track's going to blow out, so he builds the jumps kind of accordingly. And honestly, the trucks like that rough style track. Yeah. It's more the tracks that have all the big jumps. And then too, like how they are like at AMS and stuff with like the real narrow groove, and then the big jumps would be pretty darn difficult. But I would say just the track size and the jump size is just, you wouldn't really be able to drive around that many tracks.
Yeah, sweet. All right, so we have one more techno question, and then I like EKJ24's question, and that's gonna be the last one. He says, right. I agree on the Joseph Faulkner. I agree on the KP mod. How do you feel about the 137 shocks on the NT48 2.0?
On the buggy. He corrected it, so it's on the buggy.
Oh, on the buggy. Sorry. On
the
buggy.
Like the longer shocks. I actually haven't really ran the longer shocks on the rear. Initial testing, we actually had those long shocks. That's how the car was. It was kind of my idea to test a shorter shock. You just have the piston basically in a different spot in the shock. I thought I needed to kind of pack up more in the cap instead of kind of being in the middle of the body. But I think at that time we were fighting some other issues that we didn't necessarily know that were there. And I just haven't really tested the long shock. We've kind of had some different things that I've been kind of messing with, and I think Wiggins is really the only one that's really been running and messing with that longer shock. To be totally honest, I haven't tried it again, so I need to, but I can't really answer that question because I'm not really sure.
Cool.
Awesome. Dude, guys are liking your new nickname. So
Tebes.
EKJ 24,000, my boy Corey. Left tire salute, great dude. Like that dude a lot. Check his YouTube channel out, everybody. Give him a like and a sub. He goes, Tebes, do you miss the Neo race? And he says, you were what 6-time Neo champion, right?
Yep.
All right. He asks, is there any race that reminds you of Neo in America?
Yes, I do really miss the Neo race. I love just that building, the dirt, the style of tracks that those guys raced or that they built. And then I just love the structure of the event too. As a professional, you want to be able to have everything timed right and just know everything so you don't have unexpected things trying to happen. And that's just how that race was. I never went there questioning anything really. You just knew how it was going to go. And I really enjoyed that side. There wasn't, even just some of the stuff, like I said earlier, certain moral things with some of our races, say with marshalling or whatever, it didn't matter who you were. If you didn't have the right car number on your car, you got in trouble. If you were not, if you didn't have your vest on, you got in trouble. If you were not on your cone with a minute to go, you got docked a lap. Didn't matter what your last name was. And even cutting the track, I hate when people cut the track and warm up. It drives me insane. And they had such a strict rule. I remember Cav got DQ'd for cutting the track and warm up.
Oh man,
and he was so upset about it.
I'm sure.
And it was cool that. The structure and everything I really, really enjoyed. Obviously I went there always with a lot of confidence, which is amazing as a racer. I went there every time I'm gonna win, and that's just the greatest feeling as a racer. So I really miss that race. There's nothing in the US that really reminds me of it. We're just everyone just kind of knows, and it's not really on the race director's fault or whatever, but everyone knows we're just too relaxed on our rules that you're not really going to get in trouble. And so people just don't really follow them. And, it just kind of is what it is with that. But some of the race time, as far as maybe the track and, track and dirt and stuff kind of feels different, but
that I do like
the indoor tracks. Huh?
Yeah, that clay is really that track used to be very wet, right? And slippery at times in the morning.
Yeah. As tires change, it's weird. I won that race on so many different tires, and it's been the same time of year and the same dirt, but I think as tires have changed, we started kind of catching up to it. I won it on impacts, I won it on grids, and I won it on, clay typos and different things. So it definitely changed. It used to be slicker, and then once we kind of went to clay tires, it was pretty grippy, and then it kind of turned into a race time style where you had the groove that was really grippy, and then it was pretty sketchy outside of the groove, the last couple of years there. But I was really excited to go back there in 2020. So hopefully they'll bring it back, DXR or something like that.
Sweet. We also want to know what made you so good at this track. Was it just your confidence going in?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think that track was always tight enough, and the way that they build it, you couldn't overdrive it. And I think I've always been pretty good at driving really accurate. I think that's what makes me good in the really rough conditions, is because I can drive, I can put my car in the exact same spot every time, pretty accurately. And that's kind of how that track was. Like, you couldn't really overdrive it. You had to be really good on the brakes. And, you know, I like that style of racing. You know, I learned how to drive with the gas truck where you have to be really good under braking. And for me, that was always kind of the key, was just being good on the brakes so that you could be accurate in all the corners and all the jumps. Like, their jumps were, you know, kind of crooked, and like they had a lot of just moving parts and a lot of obstacles on the track. And I just the technical tracks.
We lost you just in time at the end of the. We have you. Okay, it sounds like your AirPods disconnected or discharged. So, but that's all right. We're at the end of the thing anyway. So, thank you, man. We'll wait for him to get back on. Thank you, everybody.
I'm back.
Oh.
I think one of my earpods must have died.
Yeah, it did.
I'm like not super technical, so I need to make sure
get you
my
hooked
stuff's
up.
charged up.
We're gonna get you hooked up. We're gonna get you hooked up for 2022. Hey,
Each
man,
it'll start getting better.
It will be. You start getting into this. Watch, you'll see. All right. Thank you, dude, for your time. We greatly appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of your year. I know you're going to Hobbyplex, and then you're gonna chill out for a while, which you need.
I'm gonna
spend some
take
time.
Mason this next time. I'm gonna take
I know
Mason. If you see this, I'm coming for you.
The Iceman, right? For me, most improved young driver of the year, Mason Fuller, right off the bat.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, he's you know, he made a couple people upset at the start of the year, and you know, I gotta give it to him, dude. He's driven so clean and so good to like finish this year off. It's been really cool to see.
Yep, I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. I really do.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right. So anyway, Tebes, thank you for your time, man. Remember, guys, check out his servers, and I guess the fuel will be out, and cats. Get it right so I don't mess it up. What's the web address, please?
It is shopjtp.com.
Okay. Shopjtp.com. Thank you. Check out my boy RC Kevin. He is doing some good stuff. I know he does a lot of it in French, but follow his blog channel on Facebook. If you're a French racer, tune into his stuff.
I'll be doing some stuff in English. I keep saying that, but I promised. Hey, Max Ward that just woke up.
Oh, look at him. He oh my God. I didn't even want to put him on her.
Maybe he's drunk.
He probably is, because he was drinking earlier. He's in school. That's what he's supposed to be doing, drinking and going to school. Tebo, you have a good Thanksgiving, man, and thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate it. It's going to be a great 2022. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. Thank you to everybody that tuned in to this show. We had a good 70 people, 60 to 70 people the entire time. And to everybody that tuned in for the coverage this past weekend, we greatly appreciate it. Remember, everybody, follow the Florida Carpet Championships. I'll be posting about that on the podcast page. I think that's it, man. I think we're done for the night. You know, I just want to say, hey, Teeps, you know, go out. I always give you your co-host, so say some shout outs to your sponsors before we go.
Yeah, man, appreciate you having me on. Thanks so much to Techno, aka Nitro Pro, Tekin, JTP, of course, Beach RC, MX, KO, Ultimate Racing, TD Paints, and Boom Graphics, and Lunsford.
It's hard to remember all your sponsors, isn't it? It's hard. I know. I struggle with it too. I have it written down right here.
I try not to make it seem that hard, but yeah, sometimes when you throw me right under the bus like that, put me straight on the spot.
Well, you did a good job. You did a good job.
I didn't want to look over at my car.
It happened to me a couple of times, and you see the guys looking at their shirt. Okay, I said this guy. Oh,
yeah, it's all right. It's all right, man. And happy birthday to Rosalind. Thank you, everybody from around the world that tunes into this podcast. We greatly appreciate it. We can't do it without you. The hashtag NNRC squad. Shout out to the patrons of the podcast. We can't do it without you guys either. Thank you for giving the extra support. I have to say one thing. I forgot to shout it out. I want to shout out to Corbin Showers on his retiring from RC. I love the Showers family. They're very cool. I think they're all getting out of RC, so that's a shame. But very good family, and I hope they come back at some point.
Sweet for sure, seeing that.
Yeah. Very nice people. And I think that's it. You know what? I got to say it. Thank you to all the sponsors of the podcast. If you guys can show them some support, it greatly helps us out. Shout out to Mayako, Beach RC, High Tech RC, TNR Fuels, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, JQ Scale Motorsports, Sun City RC Raceway, Invisible Speed, Donovan RC, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, RCGP, House of RC, get that Sold Out app, check out RC Kevin, check out JTP, help support us so we can keep bringing you content. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Nitro is the glory. Ebuggy pays the bills. Have a great weekend. Send it with responsibility. Thank you, Tebos, and thank you, Kevin. I greatly appreciate you guys' support and everybody's support. We guys are out. Talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. We greatly appreciate all the support and love from you, the listeners. Without all of you, none of this is possible. Special thanks to our patrons on Patreon. If you wish to support the podcast further, you can at patreon.com/NNRC podcast. As a patron, you will receive early releases, special content, and patron-only giveaways. Also, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our website, www.nnrcpodcast.com. Remember, Nitro is the glory, but Ebuggy pays the bills. If you aren't having fun, it doesn't make sense. And if you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Lefty out. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory.
That wasn't so bad.